Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another therapy session on a Friday night. Grounded football, Tottenham. Mark, the most positive man we've got. You wouldn't believe that if you read his WhatsApps from last weekend. How are you, mate?
Yeah, if you did read my WhatsApps, you would have thought I was going to jump off the pavement. Lots to talk about, I think.
Definitely.
Let's see by the end of the show if I'm still positive.
Alan, how are you, mate?
Been a bad week. Had to take some flack for some Arsenal fans who won't be mentioned online. But poor performance. Nuno out. That's about it, really.
Edna straight away. Jacob, how are you feeling?
Well, on Sunday it was horrible. Luckily enough, I got rewarded with a new job in the week, so it made me feel a bit better. But on Sunday, I was like, when you're so pissed off that you laugh.
No.
It was just, you know what I mean? Like, I was laughing, but deep down it was like, what is going on, man? Like the kids were, the kids were all in their Tottenham shirts and all sorts, and I was thinking, yeah, you know what, man, today's going to be a good day. And then within 10 minutes, they walked out and went in the garden because they're like, oh, Daddy, we're losing 3-0. I was like, yeah, go and play. You know what I mean? Stupid.
But, yeah, there's only one place to start. There's only one place to start, boys. Like I say, I'll start with you, Mark, because even before the game last weekend, you were messaging us about the lineup. What were your thoughts on the lineup?
What did I say last week? You can't play Dele and Ndombele together, can we? And when I saw it, right. I thought it was quite attacking in that. But as soon as I saw no skip, as soon as I saw there was nobody in the midfield, it was just, I just had one thought on my mind that we're gonna want to try and get forward, but they're gonna overrun us in the midfield. And by God, did they overrun us in the midfield? And we just, well, look, I'm not going to sit here and just say it was the midfield. I don't think anybody turned up, if I'm honest. Tactics aside, and our tactics were awful. But tactics aside, this is the North London derby. The first game that we look for on the 9th of June or the 11th of June when the fixtures come out is Tottenham versus Arsenal. And if us fans get up for it and get so passionate, how can the players not do that? When I saw the lineup, I thought, that's it. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know how his thinking was round not having a proper midfield, playing Dele Alli and playing Ndombele. And it's only about the third time I've seen Højbjerg play so poor as well. Usually he's our rock, but even Højbjerg didn't turn up. And when he doesn't turn up and everybody else doesn't turn up, well, we've got nowhere to go. So, nobody turned up and everybody wants Nuno out. For me, everybody needs to go, not just Nuno. On that everybody needs to go. We can sit here and blame Nuno, but God, the whole team needs to go as well. Very, very disappointing. One of the worst performances that I've seen in a long, long time. And not because we lost 3-1. It's not the score. I'm one of these people. If we lose with fight, we lose because that's football. That's sport. It. But if you lose with no passion, I've got no. All those traveling fans should be paid their money back, and all those Spurs players should walk back. The bus should have gone and let them walk back.
It's not really a far walk, though, is it?
But still, that's
not really a punishment, is it? It's about a mile.
Yeah, but that's left Nuno there.
Yeah, that's how I felt about that performance afterwards. It was just, it stank.
Yeah.
So that's all I can really say.
I mean, Alan, is that probably the most frustrating thing? One of, if not the most frustrating thing, that it's a North London derby and it's just not a single player in a white shirt fighting for the team, fighting for the fans. I mean, we made them look like the Invincibles. We made them look like they had Henri Vieira, Bergkamp back in the side. Yet they're just as shit as we are when you watch them.
Exactly. I said to Arsenal fans before this game, you've only beaten Norwich and Burnley 1-0 each. Wait until you play a proper team and you'll see what you're made of. My God, that wasn't us. We were awful. The tactics were awful. Dele Alli and Ndombele didn't know whether they were attacking or defending. Højbjerg was meant to be back and he didn't know where they were, so he went missing. The amount of time, like, obviously you watch the Sky Sports and you could set freeze frames of where our midfield was, and there was times where we didn't have a midfield. That's why Barcelona we made Arsenal like prime Barcelona. For me, Arsenal should have battered us worse than that. It's the worst London derby performance I've seen in my lifetime. For me, playing Dele Alli back there doesn't work. We're not going to play him further up the pitch where he's going to be good. He needs to go. And Ndombele goes missing in the big games. He's got ability, but we just can't keep waiting for he might come good. He needs to go. Kane, for me, got a hat-trick in midweek. We'll probably touch on that later on, but that's against no disrespect to them, nobodies. I've had enough of the whole thing from top to bottom, getting the wrong manager in, playing the wrong system, the wrong tactics. I tend to, when I see a team put forward by a manager, not comment. The only one I've commented on this season was Chelsea. So that's a shock to me. It's an attacking team. This looks interesting. So I try not to judge the open team, but as soon as they kicked off in those first couple of minutes, there was no idea what we were doing. You go into a North London derby, have no midfield, and you have the back line just pumping up long balls for the first 25 minutes to nobody. What on earth are fans meant to be excited about with this manager, with these tactics, with this team? What's the concept? What's the idea behind it? There's nothing. It just clueless from start to finish. And ever since that good performance against Man City after the first 20 minutes, we've looked clueless in games all season and got wins when we probably shouldn't have done, which is the only thing that's keeping us mid-table at the moment. I will say it again, for me, under Mourinho towards the end, I see far worse under Nuno now. So if I was Mourinho out at the end, I'm Nuno out now. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
and that's without swearing like I did on the terrace. I'm proud of myself.
Good boy.
Alan, just touching on what you just said there, obviously the long balls. I mean, what tactics did we go out with? Because every time Eric Dyer had the ball, he weren't looking to move the ball through to midfield. Obviously, you've got Ndombele and Dele, who were supposed to be the two players to receive the ball on the turn, get the team up the pitch. But, God, every time Dyer had the ball, it just seemed to go... He just put it out for an Arsenal goal kick. I don't know what he was bloody doing.
Him and Sanchez, the same thing. Literally, it was just always going long. It was like they had no idea what they were meant to be doing. Nobody wanted to take control of the game. No one wanted to stand up and be counted. So I understand players performing really bad, and I don't think any Spurs player, probably Lloris was our best player who kept the score down because it could have been worse. It could have been more than 3-1. But players do go out there and do what the manager wants them to do. So if the players look clueless, it's probably because the manager's a bit clueless and his tactics are a bit clueless. So it stems from the top down. Don't get me wrong, no player covered themselves in glory. Our back line didn't know whether they were pressing or dropping deep, too far out position. So that Saka and Smith Rowe or Tierney, when they got forward, or Aubameyang had a field day. It was literally it's like Nuno turned up and went, there you go play. And they were like, what do we do? What were we looking to do? There was no clue from start to finish in that game. So I hold players responsible for their part because you want to see some fight, like Mark said, but you have to hold the manager for his tactics and the way he set out that team and what he wanted to do in that game, because there was nothing to be done.
No, there was nothing. It was piss poor for 90 minutes. I mean, Jacob, did any player stand out for you? Obviously, Alan's just said Lloris. Me personally, I think the best outfield player we had without doing much was Lucas. He was the only one who seemed to be going direct and actually trying to get the team moving up the pitch. Was there anyone for you who stood out, or would he all 3 out of 10 performances?
The mad thing is that if someone said to me who are the best performers, it was the people that come off the bench, because Oliver Skipp come on, and I'm not saying he was, a world-class performer, but it felt that the midfield was a little bit steady. Arsenal dropped off a pace because obviously they were 3-0 up, but it felt like they weren't going to cut through the midfield like they were in the first half because Skipp was there. And he was, in the first 10 minutes, he made a few challenges that I thought, right, if he'd played from the off, I'm not saying we would have beaten Arsenal with Ollie Skip there. But you had that balance that Mark was asking for. You know, when I saw the lineup, I agreed to an extent that what Ryan was saying in the WhatsApp group, that it looked like an attacking lineup. But it's Nuno to blame for that, because that lineup, you thought, right, if everybody goes and presses Arsenal like you'd expect in a North London derby, lineup weren't too bad. But then you put a lineup out like that, and then you sit off Arsenal and play long balls. What's the point of playing Ndombele and Dele Alli if you're going to play long balls? You might as well play Skip and Harry Winks if he was going to do that. So then them three just know, right, we're going to defend, we're going to play long balls to Kane and Son and Moira and see what happens. In hindsight, another person that done all right as well, to be fair, was Brian Hill. You know, I'm not saying he did anything major, but he did well. He kept the ball ticking. He was keeping the triangles going as well. So he done all right. But I could see this performance coming, because Nuno doesn't come across like he's going to motivate the team. This is why I asked for the three at the back, because even if Arsenal were playing as well as they did in the first half, I don't think they score as many goals with three centre-halves in there. So, you know, like Alan always says, Dyer and Sanchez together, there's always going to be that performance. And it's like, as much as they've done all right, you thought, oh, this is just going to be the one, isn't it? Especially when you spend all weekend thinking it's Romero with who? And then you see Romero on the bench and it's them two. You're like, we're only going to lose this one. So if we'd gone with them two, with Romero behind them, and, you know, whoever you want at right back and Reguilon, then at least you'd have had solidarity at the back. But then if we'd gone Ollie, Skip and Højbjerg, I think even if we played as badly, we wouldn't have conceded as many goals, because they wouldn't have cut through the midfield and the defence. He just literally, like Alan alluded to, put a lineup up and thought, yeah, that's what the Tottenham fans want. That's why I think Nuno ain't got no balls. I think he put a lineup that everybody, because everybody's calling him a defensive coach, he put an attacking lineup out and still defended. Why? If you're going to attack, just attack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just confused the hell out of me when I was like, I looked at the lineup, agreed with Ryan. Within 5 minutes, I was like, Mark's right, because we were just getting cut open. Like Mark was like, no Tanguy, no Dele together. And I was like, I get where you're coming from, but I'm like, this is a North London derby, man. Why are we going to sit off Arsenal? But then within 2 minutes, I was like, Mark's right, because Nuno got it completely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, obviously you over the past weeks have said that you are happy enough with Sanchez and Dyer. Obviously, 3 clean sheets together in the first 3 games. Is that it now? Is that partnership dead to even you now? Because
and to be fair, on Sunday I was surprised he played Sanchez. For me, I would have put in, and I know hindsight's a great thing, but I would have put Romero in. You know, when you buy somebody for that amount of money, 50 million quid, or we will pay 48 million pound for him. You know, he was the best defender, voted the best defender in Italy last year. You know, he kept out the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Lukaku. You know, it's a surprise. You know, Sanchez hadn't been in the team. He was also one of those ones that went to a redless country. So I didn't understand why putting them together. And I get the first 3 games, the first 3 wins, and they looked a little bit better than they did the season before. But yeah, that was a strange one for me. Also, I thought Tanganga got taken to school. Not Tanganga. Yeah, Tanganga got taken to school. He seemed to drop his head. He just didn't seem to. And to be fair, listen, and people say about the second half, we look better the second half. I don't necessarily think we look better the second half. I just don't think Arsenal had a lot to do at 3-0 up. You know, when you're 3-0 up, it's very difficult. And to be fair, the way they did drop off, we had the chances to draw that game, to be fair. You know, after scoring that penalty shot from Harry Kane, and I've looked at it about in 10 different angles. And for me, and I don't know about you guys, I don't know why that wasn't a penalty.
I don't get it either.
He looked like he took his foot out. What's the point of VAR if those kind of shouts out, you know, don't get given? So there was that, and there was a couple of other chances if we were lethal. But, you know, when your main striker just looks disinterested as well, you know, this guy that's supposed to be world class and makes things happen and can lead from the front, even when he looks disinterested, yeah, what chance have you got? So going back to your question, was I surprised with, or is it dead between Dyer and Sanchez. I think the two of them together, it's dead. Whether he plays Romero and Sanchez or Romero and Dyer, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if versus Villa, he plays Romero and Rodon, like we saw last night. And to be fair, Rodon didn't really put a foot wrong. And Romero, maybe a couple of times, maybe looked a little bit awkward. But other than that, and I know we're not playing great opposition. But yeah, I think, look, I get what everybody, reading everything about Nuno out, Nuno out, Nuno out. Look, I'm not saying Nuno's our guy. I'm not.
Nuno.
But if he goes, would you rather have Ryan Mason there, for the meantime? Who are we going to get? We're not going to get Conte. We're not going to get, anybody that's just going to come. So, sometimes you think better the devil you know. My biggest concern is there's a lot of players that are playing for us now that played and got Mourinho sacked, are playing and got Poch sacked at the end. So, there's still a lot of players there. So is it always these great managers we've had? Or is it the players at times? So we've got to take a long, hard look at ourselves, And I'm not saying Nuno's fantastic, because by no ways. But yeah, we've had arguably one of the best managers in the last 25 years. And even he couldn't get it right. And he took a Manchester United team that were down in the doldrums, won them a cup, and got them second. And that's how bad he was, apparently. So, yeah, I'm sitting on the fence with the likes of, it's partly management, but it's also a lot to do with the players at the moment.
Yeah, it is. But like I always say, the problem we've got at our club right now is all three sets: your boardroom, your management, and your players.
But if you could change one, if you could change only one of those, who would you change?
Oh, I'll change the owners immediately.
Yeah, unfortunately though, the easiest thing and the way it's always done is the easiest place to change first is the manager. So the manager goes first because the board. But I hear people say a lot about the board, who though. But I'm willing to take that risk because under Lord Sugar, he weren't, he was in trouble, so they bought him out and they've steadied us off the pitch. I'm not saying that, but Daniel Levy said in trying to get the £1 billion stadium and all that, we've lost part of our DNA on the pitch. I would rather take the £1 billion stadium away and put £1 billion on the pitch and win trophies and compete for league titles and everything like that than have a shiny new stadium. So if Daniel Levy's true to his word and actually, and the rest of them are, and they start putting the money into the team rather than the bits off the pitch, then maybe we can have a decent future. But until that happens, until they're too worried about this Spark Stadium and having us off to a thing like that, it's going to be season after season of pure pain on the pitch.
Yeah, it's going to be a long, long time of pain, I think, with the owners we've got. But obviously, Jacob, Alan's just spoke about it there. Obviously, investment in the team. One player that we've got who we could have sold for 150 million in the league is doing absolute nothing for us. Our main man, our go-to player, the man you expect to get you out of jail when you need him. Obviously, this derby's, he's got the most goals in the North London derby history. So you think this game, a Tottenham fan against Arsenal, most goals, surely he should be up for this game. Out of all of them, he should be up for this game.
Yeah, I get you. But like you say, as much as we expect Harry Kane to be up for it, you need everybody up for it. You look at Arsenal, there wasn't any individuals. If you spoke to an Arsenal fan before the game and said, which player needs to be up for it today, they would all say, Aubameyang, or they'd say Odegaard or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But then effectively, if you look at every Arsenal player, minimum, they got an 8 out of 10. Everybody done their job. Xhaka, we expect him to get the red card when we was talking last week. Had a good game. Partey, bossed our midfield. Smith Rowe, like I said in the last show, that's the one player to be worried about. Man of the match. Saka didn't really do too much and had Reguilon on toast. Aubameyang again led the line properly. So it's about motivation for the whole team. You know, if Harry Kane was up for it, but then the other 10 weren't, then he ain't going to beat Arsenal. He's not going to do anything against Arsenal if no one else is up for it. You know, I'm sure we've all played football before, and whether it's 5-a-side, 7-a-side, or 11-a-side, if you're proper up for the game, but you look around and, you know, you got two of your mates that are pissed from the night before, you got someone else that's smoking a fag before the game, you ain't got 11 players. You know, I admit Harry Kane should have played a lot better, and he normally does, but I just think everything around Tottenham at the minute is negative. It's like, I don't think any players are going home thinking, yeah, we'll do well. The manager's setting us out negatively. You know, Daniel Levy's created a, negative cloud around this club. For me, the only time it's been positive is under Poch, maybe Harry Redknapp and Martin Jol. But again, we didn't really win anything with those managers. It's just, I don't know. Being a Spurs fan at the minute, there's no hope, if you ask me. I don't see any hope. Like, even if we sack Nuno and we want a new manager, you know Daniel Levy's going to get it wrong. And even if he gets it right, he's not going to give him the amount of money. So it's like, it's never ending. For me, Daniel Levy's the poison chalice to this. He either makes the wrong decision or makes the right decision and doesn't back him. So as far as I'm concerned, mate, his bald head is brilliant with the business, but your bald head needs to let someone else do it on the grass, man.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about the people standing up to be counted on the pitch, not one single person in the North London derby. The least I expect is for a player to at least put a body challenge in to let people know they're there. There was none of that.
Or get booked even.
Bring them down with booked, or just show a bit of fight. Like up front, Diego Costa used to create a nuisance of himself and used to cause problems, and people knew they were in a game against him. Harry Kane. It's like, where's Wally at the moment? We can't find him at all. He's disappeared in this league. And for me, he doesn't want to be there. January, just ship him out and get a new striker in. I'm done with all this. I want us just to move on because it's just going to keep dragging us back. And it's always going to be about is Harry Kane going and all that. We just need to focus on the rebuild and start anew.
He's got a hat-trick, though. Don't worry about it, man.
Nah, against nobodies. No.
I'm joking, man.
He and that team need to do a lot for me to get anywhere near interested in him this season after that shocking performance.
The problem is, though, he's got... it doesn't matter. So if we sold Harry Kane for 150 million, Daniel Levy would do something wrong with the money. So even if we sell him in January, we might, imagine if City come to us with 100 million, said, take it or leave it, and Daniel Levy said, you know what, let's take it. Whether we kept him or sold him, Tottenham ain't going to do the right thing. We never do. Name a time where Tottenham have done the wrong thing done the right thing as a club. In the general, you've just thought, yeah, that's the right thing to do.
Well, we have bought decent at times. That's what I'm saying. At so times, So you've got your likes of Berbatov, Van der Vaart, Modric. You've had people come through like Gareth Bale. Obviously, some of them are youngsters progressing, but we can buy right. But if you're given the money, Daniel Levy knows he's got a Harry Kane. So if he was to go and buy a prospect, then the fans, those that believe in him still, would see him for the fraud he is because he's still not investing. To say where he's saying, "Oh, it's our DNA, we want to win stuff," but you're not. You're investing for the future. Go out and buy the quality now. So it's a way to expose him as a fraud that he is. If he doesn't go out with the Kane money and buy a top quality striker off the bat.
The problem is he hasn't done it for so long because, like you said, all those players that you just named, Berbatov, Modric, Bale, Van der Vaart, how long ago was that? Since then, he hasn't really, I can't think of a player apart from all the Poch players. So you're Eriksen, Dele Alli, Alderweireld. Do you know that little period where Poch had the Alderweireld, your Vertongans, Eriksen? That was like when he had, what's his... I always forget his name. The scout from Southampton, Paul. What's his name now? Huh?
Paul
no. The one from Southampton. He came with Poch from Southampton, and then we got rid of him.
Yeah, it's Paul.
That's him, Paul Mitchell.
That's it.
So Paul Mitchell he was the one that made that team because Poch said, right, go and look for this type of player. He went and got them, and then he built that nucleus. And then as soon as that was going well, when we were getting quality players that Poch nurtured into world-class players, Daniel Levy thinks, actually, I don't want you anymore. It's like, well, why did you get rid of Paul Mitchell? As soon as we got rid of Paul Mitchell, this is where we are now. Paul Mitchell brought in Wanyama, Dembele, Alderweireld, Eriksen, Who else was there? I'm trying to think
But
now.
I don't think he got rid of Paul Mitchell. Paul Mitchell
He did.
decided to leave.
No,
Yeah,
actually, no. Actually, you know what? Paul Mitchell, yeah, but wouldn't you, if you was under Daniel
He
Levy and
wanted
saying,
to
go and
go.
get this player, and he's saying no all the time? I'd be Paul Mitchell and I'd be off and all.
Yeah, I mean, Mark,
You've hired Paul Mitchell to say, go and get us the players. And then when Paul Mitchell goes, what about these lot? And you go, nah, all the time, because I'd rather. Actually, you know what? I like that player, but I want to spend 10 million and get him. If I'm Paul Mitchell, I'm off as well.
yeah. Well, Parachichi won't be here for long either. But Mark, do you
He's
think
still on the
Kane's got
phone, isn't he?
tools?
Sorry, what's that?
Do you think Kane's down tools? Do you think his heart's completely out of Tottenham now and he's literally just waiting for his move, whether it be January or the summer?
No, I don't think he's. I don't think he's down tools. I just there just seems something mentally wrong at the moment, and I think in the next few weeks, I think he'll get his scoring boots on. I know he starts slow anyway. He's and I think him and Sonny. I think once the team kind of start gelling better, for want of another word, if they're ever going to do that, I think you will see him start scoring. I think he is kind of a true professional. I think this is the first time in his career where he hasn't really got what he wants. He's thrown his toys out of his cot a little bit. He's sulking a bit. He hasn't had the greatest of service, to be fair, over the last few games. But then on the same hand, he hasn't helped himself. But I don't think he's down tools. I don't think he's just not going to play anymore. But I think it's going to take a few more games. I think he's going to have to get to understand Nuno. Because let's be honest, Mourinho made him a better player than he was under Poch. He made Son a better player than he was under Poch. I don't think he's down tools, but I think he hasn't come out of second gear yet.
Yeah, well, Alan, have we got much longer to wait for him to come out? Because by the time he comes out, we could be 15th, 14th, 15th in the league the way we're going at the minute.
Exactly. No, this is not the league for passengers. I'm sorry. I love Kane. Don't get me wrong. I love Kane for everything he's done for this club and what he's like, the goals he's scored and all that. But I'm not with this whole sentiment. Not saying Mark is, but not with the sentiment. It's basically throwing a hissy fit that because he didn't get his move. But when you've got your PR team or whatever it is that basically put in that contract with no release clause and all that, you've only got yourself to blame. That stupid thing about a gentleman's agreement doesn't hold anything. So you can forget that. So you either Man City come in with a correct offer, which they didn't. They didn't come in for 150 million, and then you just get on with it. But he's looked disinterested. He's looked like he couldn't care less. The first time I've seen him show any fighting spirit was against a nobody team in thingy, and even that, to be fair, yeah, we started and got like really good in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then went back to same old Tottenham under Nuno and what was under Mourinho. Lethargic, allowed him to get back in the game. We had to bring on our big guns to beat them, to make sure we beat them because it was looking poor from then. Harry Kane, for me, I would sell him. I said he should have gone in the summer, and I said he wouldn't down tools. Not saying down tools. I think he's just like acting like a child at the moment, but he has not shown up for these first 3 or 4 weeks. And I know he's a slow starter, but normally he's kicked into gear by now considerably and gone on and started scoring, and he hasn't even done that. I think cut our losses, get rid of him for 100, because I think it'll be about 100 million now because of the stinkers he's putting in. Take 100 million and invest and go again, because I don't want a passenger. I don't want people in this team that don't want to be here. Sometimes even like in the belly, get him out of the team as well and start afresh.
Yeah, well, Jacob, if that does happen in January, obviously we do sell Kane. Is it Nuno who gets the money to spend, or is it a new manager?
Nah, for me, I've always, not even just as a Spurs fan, as a football fan, like whenever clubs or Tottenham have called for managers' heads after 6, 7, 8 games, I'm like, come on, you can't be serious here. But this is the first time I've ever said nah, because he's convinced me so much here that he's not the right guy. So you look at Everton, for instance. Like, there's a lot of fans that were saying, "Oh, they don't want Benitez," but in the first sort of 6 games, he's kind of convinced them. All right, cool, we'll have you for the season and see how it goes. Nuno's just convinced me you ain't the guy. It doesn't matter. Like, look at what he did with Wolves in the last season. Like, let's not kid ourselves. They were fighting relegation, and then he gets sacked by mutual consent, where in fact we know Wolves have just said, you know what, you got us promoted, you got us into Europe, but it's really shit now, mate. So we'll call it a mutual consent, give you your money and all the best. And then somehow he's got a better job. Do you know what I mean? He's ended up. Do you know what I mean? You've done don't get twisted. Nuno done brilliant for Wolves. Like, Wolves owe him everything. Like, but he got to the point where for the last year and a half, I've got loads of my friends that I play football with and I work with that are Wolves fans, and they're like, for the last year and a half, it was a stinker. So even they, when they woke up in the morning and found Nuno was our boss, they're like, the first thing everybody's saying to me is, how did he get the Tottenham job? And I'm like, I don't know. He was 7th he was probably about 12th in the list, but then it was so obvious that we brought Nuno in because Daniel Levy's like, right, I just need to get somebody in because these fans are going to go wild. So he just brought him in, give him a 2-year deal, and when you give someone a 2-year deal, you already know they're not good enough. So if Daniel Levy knew, but if you're a chairman and you give a manager a 2-year deal and you're not good enough, if he has the first 6 games and 5 of them are crap, why should us 4 and every other Spurs fan be convinced that he's the man when Daniel Levy's not?
Yeah. For me, the reason why Daniel Levy brought him in, savings weren't going to cost nowhere near as much as others. It's as simple as that.
And that,
yeah. And obviously, I mean, Mark, we only gave him a 2-year contract to begin with. Is that an easier way for Levy to just kick him out the door? So not so much compensation to be thrown at.
Yeah, you can look at it. You can look at it the glass half empty or the glass half full. He's given him 2 years. I've also heard that he's given him 2 years with a 3rd year if everything's going well. It's like anything. In football, I could give you a year contract and you could be out in 6 months. I could give you a 6-year contract, and you could. What did we give Mourinho? We gave Mourinho a long contract, and we're still paying for it now. So, I think he's been bitten so many times, Daniel Levy, that it didn't matter who came in next, was only going to give a 2-year contract. He's paid out what, 25 million in the last 10 years. Daniel Levy has to managers. So Daniel Levy's a businessman at the moment. So I'm not saying that Daniel Levy's brought in Nuno with a 2-year contract because he's only thinking he'll only be here 2 years. He's been bitten so many times, Daniel Levy, with all his managers. What do we have to pay out Mourinho? 18 million. We're busy paying. Who's he gone to? Roma. Aren't we paying 9 million pounds for the next 2 seasons?
I don't think it's as much as that. I don't think it's as much as that. £18 million
a year contract. We're paying 9 million of it. So yeah, listen, I think Daniel Levy's a businessman through and through. He's most probably turned around to Nuno and said, listen, there's 2 years for you. See what you can do. You do well, you'll get an extension. Simple. That's like anything with any, I've got seasonal people that work for me. Do well, you might get a main contract. I think us fans, we read so much into things. None of us know what is going on. We like to think, and that's why it's great, this debate.
No, but that's a problem for fans. That's a big problem, Mark, because we don't know anything that's going on. It's literally secrets.
Absolutely, but why should you? You don't know how much money I earn. You don't know what's going on between me and my boss. Why should you know?
Because you're not Tottenham. Yeah, you're not Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
No, but I'm a supporter. I'm a supporter. I don't need to know what Daniel Levy tells Nuno. What their business arrangement is, their job. It's not.
Yeah, but I'll ask you a question then, Mark. I'll ask you a question. So I get you what you say about Daniel Levy being a businessman, yeah, and saying, right, Nuno, I'll give you 2 years, see what you can do. But for me, Daniel Levy knows he can do that with Nuno because Nuno's desperate for a job. Do you think he spoke to Antonio and Conte and said the same thing? you wouldn't even dare with the elite managers. So you've got a Conte, you've got even Rafa Benitez. What's that?
He had a chat with Conte, and Conte said, "I want this, this, and this," and Daniel Levy went, "No." No.
So why did you invite him for a chat then? If you come, put it this way, I'm not saying Daniel Levy's
but it's
a
the
top
same.
four.
He brought in Mourinho.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me speak first. So
He
what I'm
said to
saying is, yeah,
Mourinho, but no.
let me
Conte wanted
speak.
He built
something.
in Mourinho because he was a Mourinho fanboy. He's
But
always
that's
wanted
fine.
Mourinho.
That's fine. But he brought in Conte. He had a chat with Conte. Conte said, "I want this, this, and this." And Daniel Levy
Yeah.
went, "No, Conte, no."
But that's what I'm trying to say. So if you let me finish, what I'm saying is, yeah, we all know as football fans, we don't know everything, right? But it's like when we got rid of Mourinho and had Ryan Mason, and then we parted ways with Ryan Mason. When you saw in yellow lighting on Sky Sports, Tottenham in talks with Conte, right? If you know your football, you'll sit there thinking, whew. At first I was like, oh, that's the guy. But in my mind, I'm thinking, right, Conte's going to want either 150 million or if we sell Harry Kane, he's going to want a big chunk of that. He's going to be saying to Daniel Levy, I don't want to bring in no youngsters. I want that player, and that player sold. And I want this player from Inter. I want this player from Manchester City. It's like, that Conte ain't going to mess about. So how do I know that? How does Ryan, Alan and yourself know that? But then Daniel Levy invites him for a chat. And when he does exactly that, you say no. Why invite him then? Because realistically, Conte's a manager that if he comes there, you pretty much have to let him give him what he wants. Yeah, so let me finish.
Daniel Levy's goal, though.
Let me finish, though.
No, but Jacob, that's Daniel Levy.
You've got to let me finish, Mark. Let me finish. So what I'm saying is, he did it with Mourinho.
It's not me.
So look at Mourinho, for instance, yeah? Mourinho, he got bought in, right? And he would have said this. The difference between Mourinho and Conte is Mourinho was desperate for a job. So when Daniel Levy's saying, I can't give you all the money you want, Mourinho just wanted exposure, just thinking, right, if I go to Tottenham, it's a win-lose. If I go there and win something, I'm a champion. If I lose, I'll get another job anyway because I'm back in management. With Conte, he's just won the Italian.
And you know that how, Jacob?
It's
the most decorated manager on the planet.
Yeah.
Most decorated manager on the planet. Daniel Levy just went, "Oh, I can't give you this, but just come." And Mourinho went,
didn't give him anything.
"Oh, yeah, I'll come."
So Mark. The thing is though, if you're backing up, listen. You can't interrupt me, Mark. Let me finish then. So what I'm saying is, before Mourinho, yeah. Let's have a look. When was fair enough? He's the most decorated, yeah. But in modern times, when was the last time Mourinho was successful?
What do you call modern times? Last 20 years?
No, the last. Let's say the last 5-10 years. So last 10 years then.
Well,
last 10 years. What's Mourinho? No, I'm asking you a question. What's he done in the last 10 years that you think, yes, he's still part of the Guardiola Klopp reign? Last 10 years.
He took a bang average Manchester United side and made them look quite good. Man
United, the biggest club in the world. He won the Europa League with them. Is that success?
But where have they been since Ferguson? Nowhere.
What's that? Well, look at the managers. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But I thought apparently Mourinho was as good as Fergie. So do you think if Fergie won the Europa League and an FA Cup, would Fergie be classed as a great season? I remember Fergie used to finish second and third, and they used to call him a failure. But Mourinho finishes fifth and wins the Europa League, and he's successful.
Did he not nearly get Man United relegated in their first season when he joined them? Ferguson.
But mate, I don't even know if I was born when he done that.
I know that. In his first season, he nearly got Man United relegated. So that's how good he. Listen, I'm not here saying that Nuno's going to be our manager. No, don't. He's not going to bring everything and bring Spurs back to number one and everything. But we're taking away where this guy has been our manager for 6 games. Okay, we've got the same amount of points as we had in Pochettino's first season. Yeah, 8 points or 9 points after 6 games. Okay, in our first season with Pochettino, I wasn't convinced. Okay. Because I didn't know Pochettino was.
I was more convinced than what I'm seeing now, mate.
That's your opinion.
And that's Alan's as well.
First season. But second season, that's when it started to convince me. Okay. Second season started to convince me. Okay. And then he started to show himself. because I didn't know who Pochettino was. Did you?
Yeah, you did.
From
You saw it.
Southampton?
Did you? Yeah, of course I
think he
did.
was a great
Exactly. He
manager?
finished 6th with Southampton, so I did know
Yeah,
Pochettino.
you did. You did see what he did with Southampton. Can I go now?
Exactly.
Because obviously I've waited. I let them two go.
No, go on.
So for me, I didn't know about Pochettino. In Pochettino's first 6 games, yes, he did have the same amount of points, or around the same amount of points as Nuno. But with Pochettino, you could see an identity. You could see what he was trying to do. You saw fighting spirit. You saw progressive football. With Nuno, you saw us catching Man City cold, in my opinion. And then for the rest of it, I haven't seen anything that says we've got a plan. We know what we're doing. It's just continued to get worse. We now play Aston Villa, and Aston Villa are playing. Like, Aston Villa could have beaten Chelsea at home. They had so many chances to go in at halftime up in that game. They beat Man United. They destroyed Everton. For me, if we don't get our act together in that game and we play anywhere like we did against Arsenal, Aston Villa are going to destroy us. And for me, that is Daniel Levy needs to come in that break and go, goodbye, Nuno. It hasn't worked. And the thing about you can't, who's going to get in? There's always managers out there. If you pay the money and give them what they want, any manager that's ever signed for Spurs or comes to have talks with Spurs knows they're not getting the money. They're getting a restricted budget. You have to work within your means. So that's why some managers have gone to us, bye-bye. I'm not. Mourinho, agree with Jacob. Mourinho wanted a job after a couple of years out and all that. He said that he always wanted to work with the Spurs team under Poch because he thought they were good and all that. He got them a bit too late. Pochettino declined as a manager under us because the investment wasn't there. He never got the investment to get Grealish in and stuff like that because Daniel Levy was like, I don't want to pay that money. I'll do Daniel Levy things. And that's why that fell apart. And it's just a continual thing. So for me, I agree with Jacob as much as saying that, any manager, like the Conte thing, you were never going to give him what he wanted. What's the point in it? If you're going to sit down with him, you do everything you can to bend over backwards and say, I will give you what you want. Same with the Ten Hag, same with the Nagelsmann, same with the Hansi Flicks and all that. Even now, and I originally said I didn't want him and all that, but seeing the ball that Potter plays, I would do anything I could to go to Potter and say, okay, you don't want to work under Daniel Levy. You won't have anything to do with the team and all that. It's your baby. You tell Paratici who you want. You've got youngsters there. Do what you do best. That's what I would do because Nuno, for me, is not good enough.
No, I mean, Mark, does it not frustrate you? Obviously, you're just the same as myself, Alan, Jacob, and many others as a Tottenham fan.
We just want success.
We haven't had success since '62. So,
but for me, we want success.
Why all of a sudden we want success now?
Every club wants success. Come on, man.
I want
absolutely.
I want success. I consider success winning trophies. I've wanted
absolutely.
Success. I've wanted success. I've wanted success every season. I want to win a trophy every season. For me, in my lifetime, like I've said, we've won 3 trophies. One I can't remember because I was a bit too young. The '91 FA Cup. So I've seen it on replay. But in my lifetime, it's been that I can remember. It's 2 League Cups. And for a big team like we are meant to be, it's not good enough. And predominantly, it's the owners who have not delivered and the managers haven't delivered because they've been restricted in the tools they have.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where I was getting to. Does it not frustrate you that every fan, we want success. We've built this stadium for success. So why would we refuse a successful manager in Antonio Conte, an extra staff member, but bring in Nuno, whose biggest success was keeping Wolves in the Premier League? That's why we forever fall behind teams, because we continuously make the wrong decisions in the big areas of this club.
But that's the same as Potter. Isn't Potter's role to keep Brighton in the Premier League? All these teams that sit around 30 or 15th and below. That's you look at Burnley. You look at they all there to stay in the Premier League. But you talk about success, and we built the stadium. We built. Daniel Levy did this. What's success to Daniel Levy? Making money.
That's all it is for Daniel Levy.
Absolutely, that's his success. His success is taking a club. I don't know what they paid for Spurs, 250 million, 300 million, because Alan Sugar had run it into the ground or whatever happened. Now the clubs, they want what? They want 2 billion for it, So that's success in their eyes. And I think that will come in time. And I do. However, do I want success on the pitch? Of course I do. I would love to win trophies every season. I would love to go out there and know we're going to thrash all these teams. But football now, there can only be one winner. There can only be one Premier League champion every year. There can
But
only be one.
I want our board and I want our owners to have that mentality is that we're going to be that team. Not let's see if we win a trophy this season.
We're going to see
I
if
don't
we
want
try
that.
to be.
We tried to be or anything like that. Well, let's plan for the future. I want it now. I mean, this sounds greedy, but we've been starved to success. But going back to your thing about Potter, about keeping Brighton in the Premier League, that was his thing. But let's just say he didn't have the strikers. They were second or top four of most chances created in the Premier League. And that was Brighton. Most chances created in the Premier League, that was Brighton. And because they didn't have the strike force, they didn't finish higher. They've got a better team now in an extra year. And look where they are at the moment. Yeah, they're going to fall back. I'm not going to say they're going to finish top 6, but they will fall back. But there's a reason why Nuno doesn't have, I think, 86 out of 100 whatever games it is that he's had in the Premier League. He hasn't scored in the first half because he's too pragmatic, he's too defence-minded, and he's too negative in the way he sets out in a game. That's, for me, that's why I'd get a manager like Potter, young, who likes to play football, who likes to get teams progressive forward, who can deal with youngsters as well, because that's where we are at the moment with our squad. That's the type of football we play. We have youngsters who you can get the best out of and progress. So he, for me, would be the ideal fit. And I didn't want him in the first place. But now I reckon he would be the correct fit for us. So Daniel Levy, stop being a twat. Get him, go out, give him the money. I won't get involved. Paratici will get whoever you want. And you do what you want to do with his team. But Daniel Levy won't do that because he's all about micromanagement.
And for Daniel Levy as well, it's like, he likes to fool us as fans. So for me, if you go and get Graham Potter in, or even just an attacking coach, it doesn't have to be somebody that's won anything, just an attacking coach. We all know that Tottenham fans know that we ain't going to win anything. So if we're playing really good football, we go and play Man United and we lose 3-2, but it was good football. And then we go and play Man City, get a wicked result there. If we're playing good football, as a Spurs fan, that's half the job done, because in the back of your mind, you ain't going to win anything. There's always going to be a time where we're going to bottle it. But at the minute, we know we ain't going to win anything. But then we've got a team of people that are setting up to bottle it. We're playing Arsenal. I don't think I've ever seen, apart from Mourinho, I've never seen us sit off Arsenal. But the difference is with Mourinho, he set us up to play Arsenal and set off them on purpose to win the games. Like he was weird like that. Like when we played them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and even though Arsenal had all the possession, it's like Mourinho's been known for that. With Nuno, he's known for that as well, but he ain't won nothing with it. It's never been a winning mentality for Nuno, where it has been for Mourinho. So it's like, just bring in someone that's going to attack, because Daniel Levy ain't going to win this club anything. So at least give us some good football.
Yeah, and also the way he sets up as a manager. I mean, when was the last time you actually saw a manager completely change his philosophy? Not for one game, because you can have a one-off game, but change his philosophy and go, okay, I'm a defensive coach, pragmatic style and everything like that. I say that's not lose and win, and then change his style completely to let's go on the front foot, let's attack, let's beat teams and have major success with that on a continued basis. It's never happened. You see the odd game. So for me, that's not a winning formula. Mourinho's done it because he's always been like that and he's mastered his thing. Nuno just hasn't been at that level and will never be at that level. So that's why for me, he has to go. We have to get a manager that's going to play progressive football, and team managers who play progressively on the front foot, you can see are doing good things with smaller teams. No disrespect to Brighton, with better players, with playing the type of football that the players we have would like and would feel happy in playing again. I reckon you can have success there, but it just depends. Or if not Potter, another manager who plays that type of football, like your Ten Hags and all that, who may be able to have success, but it's not going to happen in this setup with that manager.
Yeah, I'm going to read this.
I think the only way he gets rid of Nuno is if fans don't turn up to the stadium. When it starts to hit him on the pocket, I think that's the only time like last night when you saw how many fans were in the stadium, it was 15,000 people. It looked empty. So on Sunday for Villa, if it's a half full stadium, that's when Daniel Levy will start.
It's not going to happen in the league because unfortunately Spurs fans are gluttons for punishment, and literally we are. Whereas you have other fan bases that are plastic fans, Spurs fans, even the dire days when we finished mid-table at White Hart Lane under your managers like your Glenn Hoddles and that, we were always turning up to and filling out the stadium, and we always will win this though because we're die-hard fans. So it's always going to happen. But I think Daniel Levy needs to make a judgment call, because I think we're going to lose to Villa. I don't want us to, but I think we will lose to Villa considering how we're both playing. So he needs to make a judgment call in the international break. Do I get rid of him? I think he should.
I don't think Levy's even that bothered about the fans we've got.
love that
I think we
comment.
know you think he should, but I don't think he will. Because I don't think Nuno was Levy's choice. I think he wanted Fonseca. I'm honest, I think he wanted
that first
Fonseca.
sentence there. Sorry, that chat.
Then Paratici came along, and he wanted Nuno. Well, he wanted what's the other Italian prat? Gattuso.
Fonseca.
He wanted him first, and then But I listen. I'll be honest. I don't really know much about Fonseca, but reading a little bit about over the last week why he didn't come. Because he was ready to take pre-season, and he thought the deal was done with Levy, and then all of a sudden Paratici came in and scuppered the deal. So I don't think Nuno was Levy's choice, if I'm honest. So listen, I'm not going to stand here and say Levy's great. What he's done for the club is brilliant. How he's got us from the doldrums 20 years ago when Sugar had it to where it is now. But I think you're right. I think now we need to really invest in the team. It's the only way forward. And yeah, we need a top class manager, and we have had one in my opinion in Mourinho. And yeah, look how that went.
Yeah, everyone just read the comments from Kirst. I'm in negotiations to get her on as a guest. We are deadlocked in negotiations at the minute, but I will get her on this show.
Yeah, please don't do your negotiations like Daniel Levy.
Yeah,
I agree. I think she's right there, though. Fonseca was the one that we were all, when I heard about Fonseca, I went and looked him up, and he is a front foot. He's a front, he goes on the front foot.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone's loved
perfect for us.
Chat.
Yeah.
I think 1 week, right, we will cut it there on Levy because whether it's over the international break, I think that's going to be an hour's worth of show just on Daniel Levy and the boardroom. So obviously, 10 minutes left. Get this Aston Villa preview done so Mark can get ready for work in the morning. Mark, how you think we're setting up against Villa? Because I do agree with Alan. If Nuno loses this, whether there's 65,000 in the stadium or 5,000, if he loses this game, I think that's curtains for him. But how do you see him setting up for the game?
Well, first of all, if we do lose, I don't think it's curtains for him. I think he'll still be there. However, I don't think he'll set up like he did last Sunday. I think he will have Højbjerg and Skip. I think Lo Celso has played himself into the game from last night, although he wasn't. For me, it's a poor side. But I think Lo Celso will play. If I'm honest, I think you'll have Harry Kane and Lucas Moura and Sonny. And I think you'll see Romero. I don't know. I don't know if he'll play Rodon or Dyer, but I think you'll see Romero. I think you'll see Reguilon because Davis is out with appendicitis or something. And I think you'll see Emerson Royal and Lloris. That's how I think he'll set up. And I think Ellie will be on the bench. And I think he might. Yeah. I think he'll do Lo Celso rather than Tanguy. And it's only because of last night. Not saying that he put in a worldie, but he put in a better performance than he normally does.
Oh, Ryan, you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you, Alan. What about this comment? You think that we can get something, or like I say, they're playing with complete freedom. They seem to play with more freedom now. Grealish has gone.
Yeah. For me, I would like us to get something from the game, obviously, but it's going to be very tough. I don't agree with the Lo Celso playing his way in because he played against Minnows again, where he ducked out of the where he ducked out of the challenge against Chelsea. He's a coward. I don't want him in that team. This is how Nuno's going to set up the team. He's going to get, do you know, the old style tumblers for bingo with the balls? He's going to do that. And okay, he's going to be in the team today. He's going to go again. He's going to be in the team. And then he's going to have a separate one for tactics and formation and be like, oh, that's what we're going to do today, because he has no clue. The way we set up differently, different tactics and everything like that. I have no idea what the team's going to be. I just hope somehow we can get a result out of it, because if we lose 4 on the bounce, for me, he has to go. And if Daniel Levy doesn't pull the trigger, then, Daniel Levy just doing Daniel Levy things.
I mean, Jacob, if we do lose, bloody hell, it's going to be a bit savage in that stadium for a minute if we don't beat Villa at home.
Yeah, and I'm not looking forward to it. It's like, when I looked at the lineup yesterday, you saw straight away that this game against Villa is going to be Dyer and Sanchez. You know, I don't understand. There's no way Rodon and Romero played during the week against a crap little team like that. You know, we're playing a team that's named after Lucas Moura. You know what I mean? And collectively, the squad's probably getting paid less than Lucas Moura, and they still scored a worldie. So I'm not confident that the back four is going to be the same as Arsenal. He's going to give him another chance. Maybe Emerson Royal might play. I think he'll bring Skip in and realise that putting Tanguy and Dele Alli in the midfield isn't the best idea. For me, Tanguy and Dele Alli both need to get a brain check and both be dropped for Brian Gill. Just let Brian Gill pick up the pockets in the third. Let Moira and Son keep the whip for us. Harry Kane obviously is written. We just need to get, you know, for me, I'm not saying we've got the best team, but you just need to put an 11 out there that actually won it, because...
Yeah.
No, and there's players, I'm not saying that Tanguy and Dembele don't want it, but how can you be a professional footballer and after 45 minutes you're breathing out your arse? Like, he must be the only one in the Premier League that does that. Yeah. Like, Akinfenway's got more fitness than him.
For me,
it's just embarrassing.
For me, if I was to be serious and pick my starting lineup, I would have Lloris, Reguilon, Tanganga, Romero, Rodon. I would have Skip and Højbjerg in front. I would have then the front four of Kane, Gill, Moura and Son. Either have Moura behind Kane or Gill behind Kane and like on the wing. That's how I'd set up.
Well, obviously, Mark Kirster's asked, obviously, she wants to see Brian Hill start, and obviously, Rodon. I think he's been injured for a couple of games, but do you see any reason why he's not been starting? Do you think it's something Nuno just don't trust?
I actually like Rodon. I think it's just because maybe he hasn't seen much of him. And I think he needs some game time. I think I've always liked Rodon. I think he's a good little player, and I think he's young and he'll play into it. And I think, I wouldn't mind seeing Rodon and Romero playing together, but I don't think he'll go that because both of them don't have as much Premier League as maybe Dyer. And I think he'll go for the safe option. So I personally think we'll see Romero and Dyer. Gill, I like Gill, but I don't think he sits behind. He will have to be on the left or the right. So I think you won't see Gill start, because I think if Moura starts, I think, you'll see Sonny, Kane and Moura. And I think you'll see Skippy, and I think it'll be a toss-up between Lascelles and Tanguy that will start. Because you'll see Skippy and Højbjerg. And I think you'll see Gill come on in the second half. But I don't think you'll see Gill start, in my opinion, because I think if Lucas Moura starts, Gill doesn't.
Well, I think no, because I think you can. I think Moura can play that number 10 role. And
I'm sure he can. I just don't think he will, Alan. I think he can, but I don't think he will.
What you done to him, Mark? What have you done, Mark?
Yeah, he wanted to argue.
Last week.
Did you see? I clicked.
He's bloody. I tell you, I don't know why you managed that, Mark. But we've got him back now. It's all right.
Mark enraged me. No, it's fine. It's all good. No, it just dropped out for some reason. I think I would just like to see that formation where you got people being able to run and cross balls, because this whole defense-minded players in their areas, and you can't really progress the ball quick enough. Moura, for me, has been a revelation season. The way he's taken the ball on a turn and driven at players and created fouls and created gaps for other players. Without him, most of the time, we're not doing that, because it's just everyone in their positions not really moving around, and it's so slow to build up. We need more players like that. So that's why I would go for that front lineup.
Yeah, I mean, before I go to predictions, lads, this is not an appearance. This doesn't count. You have to be on the physical. So we want you and Mark at it next. We've had Mark and Alan. We've had Mark and Jacob. We need someone new now. We need someone else to
Kirsty
go.
loves me. Kirsty won't want to fight with me. She'll agree with me a lot. I'm sure.
No, I think she's no.
Right, let's go to it. Mark, prediction for Sunday.
I think we'll win. Yeah, I think we'll win. I think we'll do 2-1. Yeah, I'm maybe not as doom and gloom as the guys. You know, after the game, I was fed up. But I'm, after a few days of thinking about it and looking at some of the stats from where we have been with some of our other managers, I know you can only play what's put in front of you, can't you? So, when I look at Harry Kane last night, he came on and in 19 minutes he scored a hat trick. I looked at Lascelles. So, I know it's third-rate teams, but you can only play with what you got in front of you. That's all you can do. Villa, good side. Don't get me wrong. They've got no Grealish. We're at home. Hopefully the fans get behind us. Hopefully Harry Kane comes off his little strop. Started to find his goal boots, and Sonny contributes, and everybody kind of after last week realizes, well, they can't put in a performance like that, and they start working together as a team. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 because I just don't see Nuno playing or sending out the team like he did last week. And I think when you saw it, he wanted to come on and say a few things, but he kind of I'm going to take responsibility. Yeah, we didn't have a plan. We didn't play to my plan and all that kind of thing. So, so I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. 2-1 Spurs.
Yeah, and I thought you said Kirsten won't argue with you, Mark. It started already.
She's just going with her opinion.
Kirsten just told you straight, mate. I'm not your friend.
You need to add it to our WhatsApp group. Add it to our WhatsApp groups on Sunday. I can message and go, what are you saying, Kirst?
Wow.
Yeah.
You're brave. You said this last week at the NLD, mate.
You said this to me after the 3-1 nil win.
I said last week.
It came.
I did say last week, don't play Delhi and what's the name together. So yeah. So yeah. Listen, I'm just going to stand by a 2-1 win. I think we'll shave it.
Yeah, I know First 11 have kindly put the StreamYard link in the comments, but we are more or less done after these predictions. So if you ever, like I've always said, if anyone ever wants to come on, message me on Twitter or anywhere like that, and you are more than welcome to come on. But I'm going to quickly get my prediction out of the way, and I'll start the doom and gloom with a 3-1 defeat at home to Aston Villa. I think Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins are going to run that defence ragged. Even Leon Bailey, I think if he's fit and he starts, there's just I don't think it's going to be nice. But Alan, up to you.
The positive fan in me, obviously wanting Spurs to win. I've gone on a prediction show and given it 2-1 to Spurs. But to bring back to what Mark says, you can only beat what's put in front of you. We beat Wolves in the Cup, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's going to stand us in good stead for Arsenal," and that happened. So we beat. Before we bought on Kane and all that, we should have been beating that team comfortably. It shouldn't have happened where we had to bring them Milton to things like that. And of course, you're going to have big players getting those goals and that type of freedom against them. Against Villa, it's not going to be the same. If you want me to think logically about this, from what Villa have done recently, with my heart, Spurs win. Logically, I see nothing but a Villa win. As much as it pains you to see it, but I don't see they're playing free-flowing football. They cause teams so many problems, like Chelsea, United, although they lost Chelsea, like I said. With our defence at the moment, the way it's stuck together with parcel tape, mate, we're just going to get torn apart. They're just going to go at us and they're going to tear us apart.
Yeah. Jacob, I don't know if you're the same as me, but every Saturday game or every Sunday game, I would love nothing more for a WhatsApp off Mark saying "told you so," but it's not happened over the past few weeks. So, what's your prediction, Jacob?
It's one of those ones, when you say my heart tells me a Spurs win, my head tells me a Villa thing. My heart and my head's telling me both the same thing. We're going to lose to Villa. The only difference is my head's telling me 3-0 because, think about it. You know, it's so Tottenham to go. You know, when we won 3 games in a row, 1-0, and everyone was like, "Oh, you know," when we even called the group the 1-0 to Tottenham. Since then, we've lost 2 games, 3-0. So I'm going with 3-0 again because that's what's going to happen. We got 2 cocky winning 1-0s. Now we're going to go and lose 3-0 again. So I think my heart tells me we're going to lose 3-0. My head tells me that Villa are going to dominate the game. It's going to be 1-1 for ages, and we're going to be praying, please, 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 and then they're going to pick it out of the bag and win 2-1. So it's either 2-1 or 3-0 Villa.
Brian, have we been put on fraud watch?
Something like that, yeah. I can tell you that Latimer's Prime is in the background, so
okay.
Anything could happen now. Absolutely anything could go wrong with this. But thank you very much tonight, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Obviously, Kirsty's still bringing in the comments. It's like I say, she is going to be on this one week, and we will get this live and in person. Obviously, thank you everybody else as well. Right. Mark, do you want to tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, just find me on Jillings M on Twitter. Every week we can talk about it. And then Sunday evenings we can all go on about how we've just won 2-1.
Yeah. Alan, where can we find you?
People can find me on Twitter. The handle's there, and it will also be in the thing from this on Twitter. They can find me on the terrace after every football terrace after every Tottenham performance. More often than not, being negative because Spurs are playing crap at the moment. You can find me on Igal's channel on a prediction show every Thursday for the Premier League. On this right here, and then also I will be joining another Tottenham stream every Thursday as well. Every other Thursday, but that's yet to be finalised. So. Yeah,
it's all rumours. He's not going nowhere on Thursdays. He's preparing for grounded football on Fridays on Thursdays.
Yeah. I'm doing a Daniel Levy.
If Daniel Levy has anything to say, you're not going to be transferred.
I'm trying to be like Daniel Levy, getting my fingers in all the pies. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we have had a gunner in here tonight celebrating, obviously, but thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments. Jacob, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on my Twitter at Jacob Shigakili. You can find me on Instagram at JShigsy. If you just type in my name like it is at the bottom of the screen, you'll see I've got a few video clips there. There'll be a few coming soon. And you'll also find me as far away from Birmingham as possible. So, yeah, I'm in Wolverhampton, and I've got Villa fans even around me in Wolverhampton. So I'm going to be trying to get away from here as quick as possible on Sunday because I can't see us winning.
No, but we are back same time next Friday. Thank you everyone who's watched. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. And coming up right after this show is Fraud Watch. Obviously, you've seen the sign come up and all that lot. Go watch Latimer's Prime.
It's not me that's a fraud.
No, it does look like it.
It is up there. It is there.
I was going to say something as well, but I thought, no, we've had a bit too much beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget, if you want to catch Latimer's Prime, is literally on as soon as we've finished. He's the most loved man in all of football Twitter, so don't ever miss out on the Latimer's Prime channel. If Alan can work with Igal, then you've got to watch Prime. Definitely watch Prime. But
I tolerate Igal. I tolerate him.
Gentlemen, thank you again, and I will see you all next week.
Nuno out.
Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.